I'm Kath, and I'm just stopping by to have a chat to you about positioning. Brand positioning, your business's positioning in the market, and why is that important? Have you found yourself kind of attracting in the wrong clients, maybe? Perhaps they're low value clients, perhaps they are clients that ask you to change your products or services in a way that means that you have to sort of tack this on here or charge less for that there and break that product up and give this bit to them but not that bit to them. And before you know it, you can't scale your business because you've actually got 38 different products instead of just 3. So if that's resonating with where you're at and you feel like you're constantly adapting and trying to be flexible to the people that are coming your way, maybe it's time that you took a stand and created your positioning in the marketplace that people understand to attract in those higher value clients that are happy to take your prescription of what you think is relevant for them and can get the results for them. And also create yourself a situation where it's much easier to make sales. It's so much nicer to be talking to somebody that's ready to buy the thing that you're selling instead of trying to shoehorn something else into the situation. So let me talk you through how to create some great positioning. So first and foremost, there's sort of 4 or 5 steps to it really. First and foremost, you want to know who you are and what you bring. So in my Impact Alchemy, it was a product I actually created, a service I created, when I realized that most people that I was talking to on a sales call really had no way of understanding or packaging up the vision that they had for themselves and for their business. And I found myself just doing this naturally on the sales calls. I'd be like, oh, I'm hearing this and this and this and this, and I'd bring it together into a story. And there you had it. There was the vision, you know. So I was kind of doing all of this very early on in the interaction with them, and then they buy into that vision and they were like, wow, let's do that, you know. And then I'd throw them into a marketing membership to work their way through it. And it was too hard for them to blend that vision in with the practicalities of creating that and taking that to market. So I created this product called the Impact Alchemy, and that is all about unearthing your unique contribution. I really feel like brand strategists miss the mark often when they create a brand for somebody based only on what the market wants and what the ideal client's after and the gap in the market, and nothing much to do with what's at the heart and soul of the service provider. You really want a product like the Impact Alchemy is something that's designed to kind of bridge that gap and get you as a personal brand and as the person providing the service to really embody what you bring and what is unique about you and how you bring that to market rather than just a random idea from a brand strategist. So the Impact Alchemy is something that kind of gets to the bottom of that unique contribution. So one way or the other, whether you use that or you use another methodology to get to the bottom of what your unique contribution is, you really need to understand what it is, how to articulate it, and how you can bring that to the market. The second part is then working out what competitors are doing. So how is what you've got and what you're doing unique to what competitors are doing? Because that's really interesting data. I worked through this with a client of mine who's a digital marketer. She does SEO, she does Facebook ads. And until we really got to the bottom of who she was, it wasn't until then we realized that there was an entire niche in the travel industry waiting to hear from her specifically. And there was a great gap in the market. When we then went into the industry and looked at who else was servicing the travel industry, there was some really great gains for her to be made. And the information that we gathered from other people's websites on how they were positioning themselves really helped us, gave us that good information that we could then blend with what her unique contribution was and really find the gap in the middle. Like, what part of this story does she occupy and how can she sort of, really claim that space? So number 1, what your unique contribution is. Number 2, what are your competitors doing? Number 3, what does the market want? So that's where you really need to dig deep into what your ideal client actually wants. I've got a great workbook, the one-to-one-to-one workbook, one person, one problem, one solution. And in that workbook, I get people to really unpack exactly what it is that their ideal clients want, what they've tried before, why it hasn't worked, where they're going, what their vision is. And then the service provider, the coach, the consultant, or the service professional inserts themselves into it of how they can uniquely solve this problem. And once we've unpacked all of that, we've got this really, really in-depth understanding of who our niche is. So once we've got the understanding of how our niche is, who we are and our unique contribution, and we've understood what the competitors are, now we've got 3 pieces of information coming together to give us essentially a prescription on how we create our own positioning in the market. But it doesn't end there. While that's a really good starting point, something that helps kind of carry this through is really your philosophy and your story. People follow people before they follow ideas. So if you've got a great way of telling the story around your unique positioning and why this, people will grab onto it. I've got a second arm to my business. It's called the Origin Woman Network, and I work on that with my friend and collaborator, Mira Claudia. And we run coffee catch-ups, and these are free little events locally where women come together and meet and network and chat about what they do. So we get people we whip around the circle of women and say, hey, introduce yourself. What do you do? And we get, I'm Jane, I'm an osteopath. I work with women and children. Great. That's who you are, that's what you do, but why? So when I probe to them, and why do you do that? What's your story behind this? What's the philosophy behind your practice, and how did you get started? And give us something there. I see all of the women at the table and their eyes just absolutely light up, connecting deeply with the purpose of this person and their business. So stopping where it just makes sense of like niche, my uniqueness, and what the competition is doing, great, good information, great place to get started, great place to create a unique positioning statement from. But carrying that through as a brand that's got its own personality, its own story, its own legs to sort of walk the journey alongside their clients, that really takes great storytelling and getting people invested in your why, invested in your unique story. With that philosophy, once you've come up with that, you'll find that there's sort of a story within that. So you'll start to hear some languaging mechanisms that you're using that start to become or are a part of the personality of your brand. And then that brand starts to stand on its own beyond you. It becomes something that people feel affiliated with and have a relationship all on their own by you using that specific kind of languaging mechanisms that remind them that this is the philosophy that they've bought into. I was actually just on the phone this morning to a client of mine called Kimber, who owns a jewelry business. And we would, again, she has created out an amazing jewelry business, bespoke jewelry. But again, using wording that other people would use, bespoke, unique, until we really thrashed it out. And we found that the sort of philosophy, there was a philosophy sitting above all of this. And there was great languaging mechanisms and key messaging that she could use and imbue throughout the different target avatars in her overall niche of bespoke jewelry. And that's what really started to tell the story. And then we were really clear on what we should be putting into social media, what our tagline is for our website, and all those other things start to come together once you've worked out what your unique sales proposition is in the first place. So yes, you can go jump on a website and find out how to write a unique sales proposition. But if you haven't done this deep thinking beneath it, this resonant sort of thinking beneath it, then chances are it's going to fall pretty 2D and flat. If you are struggling with your unique selling proposition, I am more than happy to have a chat to you. You can book a 15-minute Ask Me Anything call and we can kick off and see how I can help you. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.